Afternoon. I figured it was time for me to do another post talking about the charity showcase that is taking place on June 26th at Dance Tonight Columbus. And it's for the American Cancer Society, so 100% of all of the proceeds are going directly to the cause. And I have had a few encounters where there's very much of what I'll call the why factor involved. And it's kind of brought me into some really enlightening conversations, not only to where I learn about the other people, but also self-discovery, if you will. And so I wanted to just share a moment of that here with all of you. So I just want to share my reasons why. So, my reasons why I want to have and host this charity showcase raising funds and awareness, and why I invest so much of my heart, mind, body, soul, money, resources, sanity into this particular project or the projects in the past that I have done similar to this. When I was 10 is when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And when you're 10, you don't really know what the word cancer means, you just know it's bad. And you directly associate that with, my mom is sick. There's something wrong with my mother. And though my mom was able to battle her cancer for 10 years before it finally took her life, there was sort of this evolution of process or acceptance that took place on my behalf as the daughter of a woman with cancer. So at 10, I had to start learning what the words "my mom has cancer" means or meant. But then as I continued on, by the time I was 16, I changed it from "my mom has cancer" to "my mom is sick." And by the time I was 17, the words "my mom is sick" changed to "my mom is dying." And shortly after I turned 20, my mom finally did die. And I remember sitting back after that at a local Relay for Life event, and I was very angry. I was very bitter. I was mean. I was jealous, I was mad. I was mad at the survivors because my mother wasn't a survivor. I was mad at the people that still had their loved ones, or the people that were there fighting even beside me because they wanted to help me fight my battle, my mother's lost battle, but they hadn't been directly affected by cancer themselves, and I was mad at them for that. I was mad at them because they had this blissfully untouched life, and the life of my family had been forever tainted by a relationship, a love affair, if you will, with cancer, with the disease. And it wasn't very long after my mother passed away from breast cancer that my uncle, my father's brother, passed away from lung cancer. And I remember not even being able to go to the hospital to visit my uncle, because as soon as I would see him in the hospital, I instantly remembered taking care of my mom, and I remember the shell of my mom's body by the end. And I remember being at a relay and suddenly having this epiphany, if you will, and realizing that I would never be able to change what happened in my life to my family, to my mother, my best friend, but I could take what had happened to me, and I could do one of two things with it. It was going to change me regardless. So I could take it and I could be bitter. I could be mean. I could be angry at everybody else. Or I could try my hardest to be a voice and to fight for people that were going through something similar to what either I or my mother went through. And that was when I got the idea to do my first charity showcase. While I was putting that charity showcase on, I was approached by a woman who was a teacher at a local middle school, and she asked if I would come do a performance and a speech for the school. And I was thrilled, and I did. My mother, backstory, my mother was a Montessori preschool teacher, so she had influenced and touched the lives of just hundreds of children within the community that I grew up. And after I performed my dance piece that was in memory of my mother, and after I gave my speech and said who I was, when I said, I am Stevie Bliss, my mother was Jane Bliss, the sounds from some of the kids in the middle school audience, I heard audible gasps and noise. And I knew it was because those kids remembered my mother because they went to my mom's preschool. So they knew exactly who I was. And there was one little girl afterwards that came up to me. And she just walked right up to me, stopped a few feet from me, looked me in the eyes. And she said, "You and me, we get it. My mom died too. We get it." And she hugged me, and she walked away. And I will never forget that experience, because from that moment on I realized that I was not fighting my own battle, and I never really was fighting my own battle. But I was now fighting for those children, because those kids don't have a parent, or they're affected by the disease just like the people that are actually battling the disease themselves. And I know this video is long, but I'm not done yet. So then, fast forward in time, just last year, I got a phone call from one of my sisters. I have 2 older sisters, and between the 2 of them, I have 5 nieces. And I got a phone call that the middle of my oldest sister's kids, my middle niece there, Mackenzie Kistler, had just been diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And she was going to have to undergo 6 months of chemotherapy treatment for her disease. And I remember when I got the phone call, I didn't sleep at all that night because I was instantly sucked back into this vortex of memories from my mom's sickness. And then I realized again about how sometimes the battle, though Mackenzie was the one that was sick, I knew that my sister, her mother, would be fighting just the worst possible battle ever, because it's her daughter that was going through the disease. And moving even more forward through that, Mackenzie, who just stomped cancer's ass, just kicked it royally, she is doing fantastic. But now my sister Mackenzie's mother is fighting her own battle. And she is starting she just completed her radiation, and she is starting her chemotherapy now. And I'm again I can't escape this feeling of how, if I have a healthy body, if I can physically do something, I'm going to use what I can. I'm going to use the resources that God gave me, and I'm going to fight for those that can't, that don't have a voice, that don't have the strength, but they need my help. My whys are all around me. My whys are not only in my mother, not only in my niece, not only in my sister. My whys are in the families of the other people that I have never met and never will meet. My why is that little girl that came up to me and hugged me and instantly connected with me because she knows the pain. She knows what it's like to lose somebody to a disease, when a disease just takes over. That's my why. I just can't articulate how much I'm hoping that you will support, maybe not even my cause. It's not just about my event, but it is about the greater good. It's about going out there and fighting for those that can't fight for themselves. It is about bettering the world for tomorrow, because if we don't fight for it, we're not going to have a tomorrow. So I am hoping that you have your own whys and you have your own reasons and your own story and your own experiences, and that those will help encourage you to join me in a fight to better tomorrow for all of us. I hope that I see you in June on the 26th at Dance Tonight Columbus from 3 to 7 p.m. as we dance for a chance to beat cancer. I love you.